Hello, welcome back to teleSUR English. We now go live to the UN as the 77th General Assembly takes place. Mohamed Ould Merzoug, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation of Mauritanians abroad, addresses the Assembly.
Accompany the Prophet Mohammed. Mr. President, Secretary General Antonio Guterres, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure for me to give this statement on behalf of His Excellency the President of the Republic, Mr. Mohamed Ould Ghazouani. I also wish to share with this august assembly his most sincere appreciations and his every wish for success. It is also a great pleasure for me to congratulate Mr. Khoroshi on his election to preside over the 77th session of the UN General Assembly, and we wish him every success in carrying out his mission leading this session, whose topic is transformative solutions to interlocking challenges. I also wish to commend His Excellency Mr. Shahed for the dexterity with which he led the work of the 76th session. We also wish to express our thanks and respect to Mr. Antonio Guterres for his diligent efforts aimed at promoting the United Nations and bolstering its role. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is being held in very difficult and complex international conditions. This includes the war in Ukraine and COVID-19, as well as terrorist threats of various natures, natural disasters, which are brought upon by climate change. Indeed, these crises confronted by the world today and the economic and social and humanitarian repercussions of these crises are unprecedented. This, therefore, represents a challenge to all sectors of life and to international food insecurity in particular. Therefore, it is very natural that in these difficult conditions weigh more heavily on developing countries due to their vulnerability and their lack of resilience. The war in Ukraine has occurred at a time when the world is still emerging from the repercussions of the COVID-19 pandemic. This war has led to gaps in the supply chains for both fuel and food, and the prices of both of these goods are increasing. Without significant efforts undertaken by the United Nations, Turkey, and all other partners who reached this important agreement on grain exports as well as fertilizer exports, then the world would have seen an even greater catastrophe. We are of the view that the measures undertaken in this area by the international community remain very minimal. And we call today for ramped-up efforts to find solutions that would guarantee peace, security, and dignity to all the peoples of the world. And these are the very goals for which the United Nations were created. From this rostrum, my country, the Islamic Republic of Mauritania, calls upon the international community to fulfill its responsibilities to developing countries, to poor countries, and to assist them as quickly as possible to address the challenges threatening their food security, as well as to counter the negative effects of this crisis. We reiterate our call to eliminate foreign debt for the countries of the African continent. Sir, these gaps are being seen, many gaps are growing throughout the world. We are seeing a fourth industrial revolution. We are seeing AI developing, while other parts of the world are dealing with poverty, are dealing with ignorance. This requires us to think in a collective manner, in solidarity, to find the appropriate solutions to respond to these challenges and to maintain the dignity of humans everywhere. Therefore, it is crucial, while reflecting on this paradox, here at the United Nations, under this topic of solidarity and science, this is an opportunity to examine and evaluate the success of the plans and the projects that we have adopted to overcome these challenges. Allow me here to present the efforts made by my country to establish the rule of law, good governance, social unity, and rehabilitation. My country, Mauritania, has made significant progress in reestablishing the values of justice, equity, democracy, individual and collective freedoms, the freedom of the press, and the adoption of dialogue and consultations to manage the government's affairs with participation by civil society in its development strategies. The separation of powers, impartiality in the justice system, accountability for the parliament, all of these elements aim at guaranteeing greater transparency in the management of the state's affairs. My country has also promoted efforts aimed at promoting and protecting human rights. This by combating the forms of modern slavery, of human trafficking, and illicit migration. When speaking of social cohesion, my government, under the leadership of the president, have established significant programs that will bolster national cohesion and that will support and assist the poorer groups in society. The goals here include creating schools, healthcare centers, providing drinkable water. This has helped 15% of the Mauritanian population. My country has also provided the necessary assistance to 85,000 refugees from our brother country Mali under the Ambara Agreement in the southwest of Mauritania, and this is in cooperation with UN entities. Regarding investment in human resources, we have prepared programs to train youth and to empower youth so that they will be positive elements when joining the labor market. We have also worked to promote women's participation in political life. In the same vein, my country has launched a reform program for the educational system based on a precise analysis of the gaps that exist. Experts and all stakeholders in society participated in this analysis. In healthcare, my country is ramping up its efforts to ensure healthcare for its citizens by expanding its services at all levels. While significant efforts have been carried out to promote the national economy, to diverse it, and to make it stronger, more resilient, more resistant to various international shocks, my country, Mauritania, has always taken care to establish an interlocking approach to combating terrorism in all its forms, violent extremism, and in taking into account such areas as the economy, social issues, and security sector. We're working with regional and international partners to increase negotiations and coordination in implementing these plans, all while respecting human rights. We believe that the countries of the Sahel represent a key force to resist terrorism and to establish development throughout the region. Here, we call for support for this group of countries as we move and overcome those obstacles that they face today. Sir, we are committed to the environment and to sustainable development through clean and renewable energy. 40% of the energy consumed in Mauritania will be focused on renewable energy. We are working to increase this percentage of clean energy in our country. Mauritania is working to benefit from its enormous natural resources, such as wind and solar power. Thus, we will support local industries and provide for the economic and social development of the country. Mr. President, we have also achieved significant results under our efforts to address desertification through agricultural reforms in those areas that have been affected by droughts. We're working to improve our use of water resources and to protect biological diversity. Here, we are very hopeful about the COP27, which is to be held in Egypt from the 6th to the 18th of November, and we hope that all states will respect their commitments there. My country, Mauritania, would like to reiterate its unwavering position as a defender of all just causes, and this is why here I wish to state the following. The right of the Palestinian people to sovereignty and dignity as an independent state with Al-Quds al-Shari as its capital, in accordance with the peace initiatives and relevant resolutions. We wish to reiterate our condemnation of the continued violations of by Israel of the rights of Palestinians and all other Arab-occupied territories. All efforts must be made to find a political solution that could maintain the unity and territorial integrity, as well as the dignity of its people and the independence of this country. Support must be given to the legitimate powers in our brother country, Yemen. Here we also call for a peaceful solution. When speaking of Western Sahara, our position remains the same. We support the efforts of the United Nations and all relevant Security Council resolutions. We support the efforts to return to a constitutional order in Mali. We wish to express our concern about the continued war in Ukraine. We call on the parties involved to negotiate so as to end this war and to prevent additional catastrophes throughout the world. I thank you kindly.
I thank the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Cooperation in Mauritanians abroad.
We were watching live statements of Mohamed Salem Ould Merzoug, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation of Mauritanians abroad.